Everybody, my name is David. I'm a KOK-PLAY Frontier from the Genesis Group. Today, I have some pretty cool crypto news, okay, related to KOK-PLAY. So let's get started. Now, this is an article that I picked up from Lady KOK-PLAY. And if y'all don't know who she is, she's like the 5-star general for expanding the outreach of getting the word out there for people to hear and know about KOK-PLAY. Okay, in fact, if it wasn't for her due diligence on getting the word out, the marketing and everything that she does, I wouldn't even know about it. So I'm always grateful to her. So this is an article she found in a chat group that I belong to, and I went ahead and I had to translate it. Now remember, because I'm using a translator, like I can't say this is like accurate. The translation is accurate, but obviously it's better than nothing. So here, let me get started. Expectations are spreading in the industry due to President-elect Yoon Yeol's pledge on virtual currency with a stance of negative regulation. Now remember, I told you guys in a previous video, or one of my previous videos, I think it was just this past weekend, where I said, yeah, President Yoon, he came out with over 20,000 NFTs, like 22,000 NFTs during his campaign to the Blue House. All right, so if you live in the States, we say White House, and in Korea is the Blue House. So I knew he would be crypto friendly. All right, check it out. Okay, now if you're watching this, chances are I have to post this on another YouTube account, because I don't want to sound like a jerk, but communist YouTube gave a strike on one of my videos from like 4 years ago, and so, which is just ridiculous, because all I did was just looked at the evidence and asked questions on it, and I guess they don't like the view of how I ask questions, and now boom, I get a freaking strike. So that's some communist I mean, you have to keep it real, man. This is why I really I'm looking forward to KOK-PLAY, the platform, to work on allowing us to just upload videos, because one of the things about KOK-PLAY was to tackle and go after YouTube, where you just wouldn't have the censorship that they do. All right, now but going back to this article, that I do expect President-elect Yoon to be more crypto friendly, especially compared to President Moon, the current president, because he was taking pages off the communist playbook, the Chinese Communist Party, where if you try to this is with your own hard-earned money, he would prevent you to spend it on anything related to crypto or cryptos or stocks outside of Korea. All right, what kind of crap is that? So like, if you guys looked at some of my KoCoin market updates, I was using Optical Arts. I was a paying subscribe member, and because President Moon, they're so really anti-small business is how they are. I'm gonna keep it real. So I'm just saying it from personal experience. Okay, they're very anti-small business. They're very regulative. They put all these regulations, red tapes, and so I couldn't even subscribe further, because because the government blocked me from using my hard-earned money to subscribe, to make the payments to subscribe, and therefore now I can't use the charts anymore to give you guys some pretty good decent, accurate price ranges for Bitcoin. And so that's the type of regulations that President Moon put. But I did say that I expected President Yoon to really start lifting a lot of those in the coming years, because I saw that he put his NFTs out. You guys know that KOK-PLAY is moving to Busan. If I recall, the mayor of that city, he's a Republican, and they're trying to be like the crypto capital of Korea. If not, they're trying to work to be the crypto capital of the world. But every city says that, right? You got DeSantis in Florida, the governor of Florida, trying to be the crypto capital of the world. We have Busan in Korea wanting to be the crypto capital of the world. You have other countries or cities around the world. However, because I figure the mayor of Busan, if I'm correct, I'm almost very positive he's a Republican, from the conservative side. You know, President-elect Yoon, I don't even know if he's really like a Republican or Democrat. He was actually the head prosecutor. So he's really just he's the law. He's not. I don't know if he's really Democrat, Republican, Republican, Democrat. I don't think that really matters. He's just pro law, and he sees what I saw his actions, and I see the party that put him as the front man to become the president being pro, um, blockchain. I'm not surprised that this is what's happening, because this is what I thought was happening will happen. I even said it in my previous KOK-Coin News video. So let me go further. In particular, it is widely accepted that the promise of allowing domestic coin issuance (ICO), which has been blocked so far, yeah, it has been blocked in stages on the premise of verification of virtual currency exchanges equipped by safety devices, will be an important driving force for marketing revitalization, but some say it should be supplemented closely. Now, obviously, you need to put some regulations, because you do have a lot of scammers. I do agree with that, but you got to put in the regulations to make it open, because this is going to be a $1 trillion industry. And why would you not want to be one of the first countries to open it up when it's a $1 trillion industry? You're killing the opportunities for your citizens. But I'm glad right now President Yoon is really trying to work on finding the right steps, making the process to allow Korean companies, to open up ICOs. When Yoon was a presidential candidate, he said we will switch to a negative regulatory system so that a private autonomy and creativity can be fully exercised without worrying about regulations, at least in the field of digital assets. So he's really trying to give us freedom, okay, in Korea for digital assets. Maybe some other things he's might not, but at least for now, from the stance that he's taking, he's trying to open it up. All right. Negative regulation means that once it says negative regulation, but if I really had a professional translator, it would probably say something else. Means they will allow everything except for what is prohibited by law, putting weight on revitalizing the market. So you wouldn't call that negative regulations, as positive regulations. All right. It's just the translation is off, okay? So they're trying to allow everything to be open, as long as it's not broken, it's not breaking the law. Once again, that's why President Yoon, I don't even know if he's a Republican or Democrat. He won for the conservative side, but really, I don't know his true values. I just figure he's real pro-law. He's gonna follow law. You get what I'm saying? And that's why, if you guys know anything about Korean presidents, most of them go to prison. I think they all went to prison. I don't want even this current president, President Moon, to go to prison, but I hate to say it, chances are within 10 years, he'll probably go to prison too, because that's just what happens to all these Korean presidents. I don't think President Yoon will go to prison because, he was a former head prosecutor. This guy sent the the vice chairman of Samsung to prison. This is the guy that put people in, like, I think Hyundai and SK higher up, people you don't touch into prison. And so they know this president is not someone you're going to try to bribe, because he's going to just follow the law. Okay? And I don't think he's going to try to manipulate the law to a certain agenda. He just knows the laws, and he's going to just follow the laws, and he's not the type to try to manipulate the law. I don't think so, because he's there to enforce the law, not some agenda. And that's what he's saying here is going to be opened up as long as it's not breaking the law. One of his pledges that well reflects this perception is the ICO's phase acceptance. ICO, or initial coin offering, refers to the act of a business entity issuing virtual currency and selling it to investors to raise funds. That's right. Because what do? They want to raise funds by selling the currencies to their ecosystem. So when their currency has value, they sell it on the market, and with that money, they could, upgrade the ecosystem. It's the same thing in Korea or United States. What are you doing? If you're the U.S. dollar, the U.S. people buy the U.S. dollar because it is the world reserve, but it's having value to the dollar, and it is through the value of the dollar that the United States government will sell it off. Or actually, United States is not the best example because they just print. They just go on a typewriter, hit one, hit a whole bunch of zeros, hit enter, and boom, you just made money come into existence out of thin air. But imagine your people are buying US dollars because it is the strongest military, undisputed, pound for pound, the best, strongest military in the world, with some of the best companies you cannot, compete with, like in terms of technology, like Tesla, unless you're over there, stealing their tech. But the military is just undisputed. And so people will buy the US dollar because it's a reserve currency, and then the government can sell the currency or use the currency to invest in the infrastructure, in the ecosystem of the United States. Well, that's the same thing here with these ICOs, right? Now, in Korea, financial authorities have banned the act altogether since 2017, judging that it was too close to speculation. The key reason was that the risk of fraud, which is true, there's a lot of fraud in cryptos, such as similar reception could increase and consumer damage could expand as speculations demand flock. Yeah, I mean, all of that is fair, but that was 2017. This is 2022, okay? You should have figured some stuff out by now. For this reason, business entities have chosen a kind of bypass listing method in which virtual currency is disclosed overseas and domestic exchanges sell it on consignment, which that's what KOK-PLAY, is doing. You look at some of these companies in Korea, sometimes they're in Korea, but they're actually set up in another country because they haven't properly made the laws to open up cryptocurrencies, blockchain, ICOs in Korea. But that's changing now. It's changing now. Regarding how to allow ICOs in Korea, Yoon said in a pledge, first of all, we will start with the IEO, initial exchange offering method, adding, it is a way for investors to participate in coin projects through exchanges, and exchanges can reduce risks by playing a role of verifier and intermediary between projects. So now, once again, you're going through exchanges, all right? And, Korea definitely has some, good exchanges. Instead of conducting ICOs on its own as a virtual asset issuers, it is intended to first examine and act on behalf of them in a relatively safe zone called a virtual currency exchange. So you go through the exchange to buy these ICOs. The market is welcoming. So instead of maybe buying an ICO directly through the currency, the issuer of the currency, you just, I guess the way they're wording is you're going through an exchange. An offering from the virtual currency industry said, if the pledge becomes a reality, the excellent domestic personnel related to blockchain and virtual assets will be able to get opportunities without having to go abroad. Yeah, because now people in Korea can just buy it in Korea, right? It is an industry where excellent manpower with already experience is essential, and it will be of great help to market development. Now, obviously, you do have exchanges in Korea, and once again, I don't know how good the translation is, but obviously they're gonna make it so it's easier for Korean companies, these blockchain companies, to um, start their I IEO, okay, and so it'll open up the market. And remember, this is $1 trillion market. I think Korea is going to be one of the first countries to really open it up, and it's gonna this will be a game changer. I wouldn't be surprised if you have overseas companies, blockchain companies, coming to Korea to open things, to open up. Some advice that will re- some advice that while revitalizing the market is important, discussions on supplementing the system to protect investors should also be weighed as question marks the exchange's screening capabilities. Let the exchange make sure these are legit companies. Absolutely. Currently, the Act of Reporting the Use of Specific Financial Transaction Information Special Act serves as a virtual asset real name transaction system and imposes related obligations on exchanges, but the so-called Industrial Rights Act is in stage of discussion. So I'm not sure exactly what that is, but you're making all these transactions on these exchanges. Obviously, it's going to be regulated, and you know, I don't know what this whole industrial act is, but obviously, once again, it'll be putting in the right process, the right steps, the right regulations to, have safety for us, and which will enforce, companies that are opening up their own coins to be legitimate and not be a scam, because they can be fined, they can be imprisoned. Hong Ki-hoon, a professor of business administration at Hongik University, said the special act is virtually only a real name for virtual assets, and it is difficult to say it is a comprehensive regulation. If weaker regulations are included, there are concerns about consumer damage first, and secondly, controversy over reverse discrimination against security market could follow. So they got to make good regulations, or it can backfire, especially on the people who are buying these coins. As such opinions exist, elected Yoon also promised to enact the Basic Act on Digital Asset, an industrial corporation. Through this, the plan is to recover all of the proceeds from unfair transactions of virtual assets, introduce and expand insurance systems in preparation for hacking and system errors, and foster professional financial institutions that link virtual asset transaction accounts and banks. So he's gonna trying to open it up to banks. He's gonna provide safety insurance if you're getting hacked, as long as you follow the rules, the regulations. I mean, is for our safety, but he wants to open up the market. So this is, incredibly good news. All right. Jesus. Okay. Let me finish this. However, Representative Yoon Chung-hyun, chairman of the Special Committee on Virtual Asset and the Power of the People, expressed skepticism about the intensive regulation, saying it is difficult to promote the virtual asset market if the highly regulated Capital Markets Act is revised and applied. Some within the party say that it is better to solve the issue of security trust in the exchange in the process of realizing ICO level acceptance pledges through the IEO by allowing coin screening not only by exchanges but also by third-party organizations. So they want another third-party organization to look into these companies, not just exchanges themselves. I mean, okay, we'll see how they work that out. In such an uncertain situation, virtual currency exchanges are also waiting to enact the Industrial Rights Act rather than immediately starting preparations for IEO-related practices. Okay, they want to see what these new rules and regulations are, because it might hurt them. Like they might, yeah, I mean, because they can just start an IEO and then these rules can damage their business. And so, sure, that makes sense. Regarding concerns that allow the exchange screening and verification capabilities A working level official said, "It is true that the authorities need clear guidelines." Yes, obviously. Adding, "If you ask them to do well on their own, there will be confusion." Right, you got to make the guidelines because it's hard for people to just make their own rules, right? If you're driving and you have two roads crossing each other, you need, the traffic lights, or is confused. People will be confused who should go, and you're going to have car accidents. Above all, the Industrial Rights Act should be clearly prepared. Yeah, it should be clearly prepared. However, this is excellent news because, they're really working on trying to open up, um, you know, blockchain companies in Korea to start their own cryptocurrencies where it's open to the population, and this is going to be extremely positive because you had like even KOK-PLAY. I think I read once that KOK-PLAY had to open up like in another country because of the rules and regulations in South Korea. Well, you might not have that problem anymore. You can advance the technology here. You can, advance the blockchain technology, but to run your own cryptocurrency with your own ecosystem, like, the KOK-PLAY platform, maybe you might have done that in another country to avoid, well, not just avoid, but because you can't do it in this country. And yeah, so this is definitely positive. And if South Korea can do an excellent job and pioneer this and set a good format, then other countries can follow. Other countries can follow. How does this help KOK-PLAY? This helps KOK-PLAY because then it'll make KOK-PLAY to operate easier, and it's gonna allow KOK-PLAY not only to operate easier and have support from the government with the correct regulations, instead of trying to find all these legal loopholes, well, not loopholes, but legally go around the system because of all the red tapes, and it's just harder to operate business. But with KOK-PLAY operating with the laws, aiding the growth of the platform, the technology, and everything KOK-PLAY does, then it can even advance faster, further, have a faster marketing outreach program, grow the ecosystem even bigger, which will strengthen the ecosystem, which strengthens the value of the currency because more people would join, and is excellent news for us. All right, it's just more the better. So this is really good news. I hope you guys like that. All right. Please stay safe. Please take good care of yourself. Prepare for inflation, depending on what part of the world you're in. Prepare for food shortages. Of course, pray for the Ukrainian and Russian citizens. And pray for yourselves. I'm praying for all of you. I love you guys. Stay safe. Please be spiritually strong, mentally strong. And yeah, God bless y'all. Coke on.